Let's dive right into this explainer. If you've ever watched the massive, awe-inspiring gatherings during Hajj and wondered where these deeply ingrained traditions actually come from, well, you are in the right place. We're going to unpack the historical and theological source material to see exactly how a story of incredible hardship, completely unwavering faith, and ultimate sacrifice established both the physical and the philosophical groundwork for rituals that millions practice today.
First, picture the scene. The Faran Valley, which we know today as Mecca. We're talking about an absolute wasteland, blistering sun beating down, the ground practically radiating heat, and a place notoriously full of scorpions and snakes at night. It's right here that Prophet Ibrahim, acting on what he believes is a direct divine command, leaves his wife Hajra and their infant son Ismail. And he leaves them with literally nothing but a few dates and a single water skin. So this brings us to a truly fascinating question that's going to guide our entire journey today. How does a story of a mother and an infant who are seemingly abandoned in a brutal desert become the literal blueprint for one of the largest annual pilgrimages on Earth? How do those desperate moments translate into the highly structured rituals of Hajj and the whole philosophy of qurbani, or sacrifice? To answer that, we have to look at Hajra's immediate reaction. As Ibrahim turns to walk away, Hajra asks him a pivotal question. Is this by the command of God? When Ibrahim confirms that it is, Hajra simply accepts this immense test. She replies that if it is a divine command, then they will absolutely not be abandoned. It's a foundational moment of total reliance on the divine, and it sets the theological tone for everything that follows. Chapter 1, A New Beginning in the Desert. Chapter 2, The Miracle of Zamzam. Because, having faith doesn't just magically erase physical reality. The sun is still scorching, the dates are gone, and that single water skin runs completely dry. A frantic struggle for survival kicks in. Hajra's milk dries up, and the infant Ismail is crying, literally rubbing his heels against the burning sand in severe thirst. Driven by sheer maternal desperation, she refuses to just sit there and watch her child perish. We can actually trace her frantic path perfectly. She climbs the hill of Safa looking for any sign of a caravan, any sign of water. Finding absolutely nothing, she runs in a panic to the opposite hill, Marwa. Back and forth she runs between these two hills a total of 7 times. Today, millions of pilgrims physically reenact this exact frantic search by walking and running 7 times between Safa and Marwa. It is a profound physical tribute to a mother's desperate love and effort. Now, right after that 7th run, things shift completely. An angel, identified in the sources as Jibril, strikes the earth right near the infant's feet, and a spring of incredibly pure water gushes out. This is the famous Zamzam well, and the presence of water changes absolutely everything. A nomadic group from Syria, the Jurhum tribe, spots birds circling, finds the water, and respectfully asks Hajra for permission to settle there. Just like that, the barren Faran Valley becomes a thriving settlement. Ismail grows up among them, learning Arabic and eventually mastering horse riding. Chapter 3, Building the Kaaba. Let's fast forward a bit. Ibrahim returns to the valley, but he isn't just dropping in to visit. He comes with a massive task. He's been commanded to build a permanent sanctuary, a house of worship, right there in the desert, and he's meant to do it alongside his now-grown son, Ismail. The crucial point here is that the Kaaba wasn't just miraculously dropped out of the sky. It was a grueling, joint father-son construction project. Ismail gathered stones from 5 surrounding mountains, specifically Tur Hira, Tur Zida, Tur Sina, Tur Lab, and Tur Jud. As they built the walls higher and higher, the angel Jibril brought the black stone, or Hajar al-Aswad, to be placed right in the corner. When it was finally finished, Ibrahim entrusted Ismail to be the caretaker of the Kaaba, establishing a lasting legacy of custodianship. Chapter 4, The Great Test of Sacrifice. So, right when their lives finally seem settled and this beautiful sanctuary is built, Ibrahim starts having a recurring, absolutely unimaginable dream. Now, in the theological texts, the dreams of prophets are considered direct divine revelation. And this dream is asking for the ultimate sacrifice, the life of his beloved son. He approaches his son, but not with a sudden ambush. He opens a dialogue. He presents the vision directly to him, saying, "O my son, I have seen in a dream that I am slaughtering you, so see what you think." It's the ultimate test of faith, not just for the father who has to perform the act, but for the son who has to willingly accept it.
In Ismail's response, it's historically famous for a reason. He doesn't panic. He doesn't run away. He showcases total, unwavering submission to the divine will, telling his father to do exactly as he is commanded. In the source texts, this is emphasized as the absolute pinnacle of obedience and patience, a defining characteristic of both the Father and the Son.
But a trial like this is never just internal. There's intense external resistance, too. As Ibrahim and Ismail head to the Valley of Mina to actually carry out the sacrifice, Satan attempts to dissuade them 3 separate times. He tries to plant seeds of doubt in their minds about the cruelty of the act. Each time, following the command of an angel, Ibrahim throws 7 pebbles at the apparition to drive it away. This ancient event directly mirrors the Rami al-Jamarat ritual, where pilgrims today throw pebbles at 3 pillars in Mina, symbolizing the constant, active rejection of negative temptations. They finally reach the location. Ismail is laid face down so his father won't have to look into his own son's eyes. Abraham actually draws the knife. But at the very last second of total submission, a voice calls out that the vision has been fulfilled. Divine intervention replaces Ismail with a white ram from heaven. They had passed the ultimate test, proving beyond a doubt that their devotion to the divine superseded even their profound love for each other.
Chapter 5, Who was the sacrifice, Ismail or Ishaq? Now, this brings us to a really fascinating theological debate. While the story of the sacrifice is totally foundational to multiple faiths, there's actually a historical divergence regarding the identity of the sacrificed son. Was it Ismail, or was it Ibrahim's other son, Ishaq? When we look at the texts objectively, the Quranic sequence narrates the story of the great sacrifice first, and only after the test is passed does it announce the glad tidings of the birth of a second son, Ishaq. Conversely, the Old Testament text commands Abraham to sacrifice his only son, but then explicitly names Ishaq. Historical scholars point out a pretty significant contradiction here. Since Ismail was undeniably born 14 years before Ishaq, Ishaq could never have been the only son, which points to Ismail as the original subject of the trial. Chapter 6, The True Philosophy of Sacrifice. All right, let's pivot from ancient history and theology to the living, breathing philosophy behind all these rituals today. The physical acts of Hajra Safat and the annual animal sacrifice are profound, but what is the actual intended meaning behind them? Well, the word used for this sacrifice is qurbani. It's derived from the Arabic root word qurb, which literally translates to closeness or proximity. So the crucial takeaway here is that qurbani is not merely about the physical act of slaughtering an animal. It's a profound exercise in spiritual elevation, giving up something valuable in order to draw closer to the Creator. And this represents a massive, radical shift from ancient practices. You see, pre-Islamic pagan traditions involved actually smearing the blood of sacrificed animals on the walls of the Kaaba to please their gods. But this powerful Quranic verse completely redefined the concept of sacrifice. It explicitly states that neither the meat nor the blood actually reaches God. Instead, it is the piety, the inner intention, the sincerity, and the willingness to share that meat with the poor and needy that actually matters. The physical act is essentially just a vehicle for inner transformation. The story of Ibrahim, Hajra, and Ismail is literally a masterclass in giving up what is most beloved to you when you are called upon to do so. It was never really about the water, the desert, or even the ram. It was entirely about the state of their hearts. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final thought to reflect on for your own journey. In our modern world, a world filled with endless distractions and material attachments, what are you willing to sacrifice today to achieve that true closeness to the divine?